Some multiple choice questions from the November 2016 grade 12 paper. 1.4. A person drops a glass bottle onto a concrete floor from a certain height and the bottle breaks. So we have a certain height above the ground. And a person drops the ball, so we know the velocity at the top is 0, and the bottle breaks. The person then drops a second identical glass bottle from the same height onto a thick woolen carpet, but the bottle does not break. Which one of the following is correct for the second bottle compared to the first for the same momentum change? So they're telling us that the change in momentum is the same. So we know that delta P, change in momentum, is constant. And what the woolen carpet does is it increases the time of contact. So that would mean that the ball is in contact with the floor for much longer. It takes longer for the change in momentum to occur. So if I use the equation F net delta T is equal to delta P from the data sheet, and we rearrange this equation, we can see that the net force is inversely proportional to time if change in P is constant. So that means if I've got a greater time, if time increases, then the net force would decrease, because we said that the net force is inversely proportional to delta T. So what would happen is we have the time of the contact with the carpet would increase. So our answer could either be C or D. And we know that if the time increases, then the net force decreases. So definitely D would be our correct answer. That the average force is smaller and the time of the contact with carpet is greater. This is quite a common question. And sometimes they ask us this when they talk about airbags in a car during an accident where the airbags of the car pop out. The airbags also increase the time of contact. They would also ask you something about a person doing high jump and lands on a mattress. Why is it better for him to land on a mattress than land on the ground? And that would be because the mattress increases his time of contact, and from this equation, if the time increases, then the net force decreases. Going to the second question, a block of mass M is released from the top of a frictionless inclined plane. So the mass is M and it is released. So the initial velocity is 0 here at the top. And they tell us that it is frictionless. Now when we see frictionless, this means we can use our law, either our law of conservation of momentum, and we would use that if we see a collision, or we could use our law of mechanical energy that says that Emac at point A is equal to Emac at point B. And in this case, we are working with point Q and point R. The total mechanical energy of the block EQ at point Q and ER at point R. The total kinetic energy at Q and R is KQ and KR respectively. And they want us now to compare the mechanical energy at either point and then the kinetic energy at both points. So if we look at this, because they said frictionless, we said we could use the law of mechanical energy, conservation of mechanical energy. And that law says that the mechanical energy at the top, P, is equal to the mechanical energy at the bottom, R. And we can always use this equation when there's no friction. So that would tell us that our answers are either B or C. And immediately we can eliminate A and D. So now we need to look at the second part, the kinetic energy. We can see here at the top the kinetic energy is 0. So because the velocity is 0, so kinetic energy at the top is 0. But the potential energy at the top is a maximum because it's a certain height above the ground. And here at the bottom at R, the gravitational potential energy EP is 0, but kinetic energy would be at a maximum. So we'd have a greater kinetic energy because M is released with a velocity of 0, but as it falls to the ground, or as it slides down this ramp, its velocity would increase until it reaches the bottom with a maximum velocity and a maximum kinetic energy. So the kinetic energy at R would be greater. So we can say kinetic energy at Q less than R, that looks good. It is not equal. And that would give us B as our correct answer. I hope you found this video beneficial. Please like if you enjoyed watching this and subscribe so that you don't miss future videos. And please share these videos with as many of your friends as you can so that more learners can benefit from these lessons.